Welcome to Restoria. I'm Jenna, and this is your cozy corner for gentle bedtime stories. Each night, I'll share peaceful tales made to quiet your thoughts and guide you softly into sleep. So settle in, get comfy, and let the story carry you into rest. The story tonight is called A Cup of Warmth. Chapter 1. The Hush of Now. In the little kitchen nestled at the back of the narrow, ivy-wrapped house, the world feels as though it's taken a deep breath and chosen not to speak. The only sounds are the quiet tapping of rain against the windows and the low, familiar hum of the old kettle beginning its slow song. The light from the stove is soft, buttery, casting long, golden reflections on the old wood of the cabinets and the pale ceramic tiles. Everything here seems to carry a gentle kind of memory. The faint scent of cinnamon and chamomile in the air, the smooth worn edges of the countertop, the curve of a favorite mug resting beside the sink. Clara sits quietly at the small, round table near the window, her fingers wrapped around a warm cup of tea. The tea is sweetened with honey and carries the earthy softness of rooibos, a taste she's come to find comforting over the years. She doesn't glance at the clock. She doesn't need to. In this kitchen, in this moment, time feels like something that folds in on itself, like a cat curling up in a patch of sun. She brings the cup closer and breathes in. The steam drifts gently upward, weaving into the soft shadows above her. Each breath in is a little lighter than the last. There's a rhythm here, slow and forgiving, the kind of rhythm that doesn't ask anything from you, just invites you to be. Outside, the rain continues its gentle tapping, sometimes catching on the edges of the window frame in a whispery flutter. The sky is a muted gray, deep and soft like wool. Trees sway with a delicate patience, their leaves brushing against each other with a hush that matches the quiet in Clara's chest. She sips the tea. It's warm, not hot, the kind of warmth that stays a while, curling into the spaces between thoughts. She feels it in her throat, her chest, her fingers. It feels like being told everything's going to be okay, not through words but through warmth. A soft creak comes from the old wooden floor as Clara shifts slightly in her chair, pulling her legs up beneath her. The chair sighs under the change, as if it too is settling in for the evening. The cushion beneath her is worn but familiar, the fabric faintly textured with embroidered little sprigs of lavender, a gift from long ago. Her eyes scan the shelves. Above the counter hold mason jars filled with loose tea leaves, dried herbs, bundled with twine, a tiny ceramic hedgehog someone once gave her as a joke that has since become quietly cherished. Everything has a place, and everything has a softness to it, as if the room has learned over time how to be gentle. There's a calendar on the wall, turned to a month already halfway gone. A single note is written in the square of a coming Thursday. Call Miriam. The handwriting is rounded, slightly smudged. Clara looks at it for a long moment, the name soft in her chest. Not urgent, just there. The kettle begins to quiet, its humming, slowing, content. Clara doesn't move to pour more water. She lets it be, appreciating its small lullaby. Through the window, she watches as rivulets of rain trace paths down the glass, meandering like thoughts with nowhere urgent to go. Street lamps outside glow softly, their light blurring in the wetness, casting a quiet golden hue over the hedges and the glistening pavement. Somewhere in the back of the house, a clock ticks, slow and even, its sound nearly swallowed by the quiet. It adds to the hush rather than breaking it, a soft reminder that time still exists, even if only as background. Clara breathes in again, long and slow. The warmth from the tea settles lower in her chest now, deeper, more complete. It's not just the drink, or the chair, or the quiet of the evening. It's the sense of being exactly where she is, with nothing expected of her. The comfort of being enough. Her eyes close. There's nothing else she needs to do. The kitchen breathes with her. The rain keeps time. The tea does its quiet work. No rushing thoughts. No lists. No noise. Just warmth and peace in the hush of now. Chapter 2. The blanket drawer. The hallway just beyond the kitchen is dim and quiet, the kind of quiet that deepens the sound of one's own footsteps. Clara moves slowly, her cup now empty, fingertips grazing the walls as she walks. The wood beneath her feet creaks softly, not complaining, just remembering. She pauses at the end of the hallway, in front of a small, low cabinet painted a pale, faded green. It's the sort of piece that might go unnoticed in daylight, but tonight, under the gentle haze of a wall sconce shaped like a little tulip, it feels like the heart of something. Clara kneels and opens the top drawer. Inside, carefully folded, are blankets of all kinds. Thick woolen throws with small worn patches, hand-knitted quilts with uneven stitches, a plaid fleece that smells faintly of cedar. She runs her hands over each one, slowly. The textures speak to her in their own quiet ways. She pulls out a soft cream-colored blanket, the edges stitched in loops of pale blue thread, and drapes it over her arms. It smells of laundry, soap, and something older, comforting kind of age. For a moment, she sits on the floor, blanket wrapped around her shoulders. The house seems to lean in, close and warm. She thinks of the people who've used these blankets before. The winter nights, the quiet mornings, the stories half read by lamplight. There is comfort in keeping, in knowing what waits in a drawer, in the soft weight of something that remembers. She stays there a little longer, letting her fingers find the textures hidden within the folds, the loose strand of yarn, the threadbare corner. There's a blanket at the very back, a dusty rose color, edged in satin that's gone matte with age. It's the one her mother used to lay over her legs during childhood naps on the couch. A tender shiver moves through her. She lifts it carefully, tracing the edge where a tiny hole has begun to widen. Her thumb presses into the softness, into the memory of small hands clinging to the edge while drifting into sleep. There's no sorrow in it, just a quiet ache, like an old melody hummed under your breath. She folds it gently and tucks it back, then rises slowly, careful not to spill the piece she's found. Blanket over her arm, she steps back through the hole, the shadows parting gently before her. The rain is still there, steady and delicate. In the living room, a single lamp glows beside the sofa, its light pooled like honey. Clara settles into the cushions, tucking her feet beneath her and drawing the blanket close. The fabric hugs her lightly, the way a friend might. Outside, a car passes slow, with tires whispering over wet pavement. She doesn't look. She doesn't need to. There's a book resting on the arm of the couch, spine softened by years, picks it up, not to read, but just to hold. Her thumb traces the corner of a dog-eared page. The words inside can wait. Tonight is not for turning pages. She sets the book gently back down and lets her head rest against the cushion. A small framed photo on the nearby shelf catches her eye, a picture of the garden in spring, lavender blooming near the back gate. The memory slips in easily, the hum of bees, the scent of turned soil, sunlight caught in her hair. Another kind of warmth, another quiet, kept. The clock in the hallway ticks on, each second soft and round, a rhythm not to measure time, but to hold it. Clara closes her eyes for a moment, not to sleep, just to sink into the chair, the blanket, the memory of softness. The blanket slips slightly as she shifts, and she pulls it close again, the motion instinctive. It feels like part of her, now not just fabric, but story. And in that quiet, with nothing asked and nothing chasing, she lets the warmth remain. The kind of warmth that lingers, the kind that listens, the kind you find in a drawer on a rainy night. Chapter 3. The Window Seat. The window seat has always been Clara's favorite spot. It sits tucked beneath the tall, wide window in the front room, padded with cushions that have faded gracefully over time. The fabric is sun-softened, a gentle floral pattern, almost worn away in places, but still lovely, still familiar. Tonight, the rain streaks softly down the glass, and the lamplight from inside turns each droplet into a tiny orb of golden hush. Clara draws back the light cotton curtain and settles into the seat with the cream-colored blanket still around her shoulders. The cushions shift slightly under her, greeting her with that familiar sigh. A small book of poetry rests on the windowsill. She opens it, not to read through, but to glance, to let her eyes rest on a few gentle lines. Her fingers hover over a verse she's read countless times, and she mouths it silently, a breath more than a whisper. Something about stillness, about rain, about the way the world folds in when you let it. Beyond the glass, the street is mostly empty. A lone umbrella floats by navy blue, held by a figure in a long coat. They don't look up, just walk slowly, the rain making its quiet applause on the sidewalk beside them. Clara's gaze lingers, then softens. She's not watching for anything in particular. It's enough to see the windowsill holds little things. A tiny glass bowl with dried lavender, a smooth stone with a faint white ring, a brass key whose door no longer exists. She runs her hand over the stone, its corners grounding. The lavender is faint now, but still holds its shape, brittle, quiet, and fragrant if you lean close. Chapter 3. The Window Seat. The window seat has always been Clara's favorite spot. It sits tucked beneath a tall, wide window in the front room, padded with cushions that have faded gracefully over time. The fabric is sun-softened, a gentle floral pattern, almost worn away in places, but still lovely, still familiar. Tonight, the rain streaks softly down the glass, and the lamplight from inside turns each droplet into a tiny orb of golden hush. Clara draws back the light cotton curtain and settles into the seat with a cream-colored blanket still around her shoulders. The cushions shift slightly under her, greeting her with that familiar sigh. A small book of poetry rests on the windowsill. She opens it, not to read through, but to glance, to let her eyes rest on a few gentle lines. Her fingers hover over a verse she's read countless times, and she mouths it silently, a breath more than a whisper. Something about stillness, about rain, about the way the world folds in when you let it. Beyond the glass, the street is mostly empty. A lone umbrella floats by, navy blue, held by a figure in a long coat. They don't look up, just walk slowly, the rain making its quiet applause on the sidewalk beside them. Clara's gaze lingers, then softens. She's not watching for anything in particular. It's enough to see the windowsill holds little things. A tiny glass bowl with dried lavender, a smooth stone with a faint white ring, a brass key whose door no longer exists. She runs her hand over the stone, its coolness grounding. The lavender is faint now, but still holds its shape, brittle, quiet, and fragrant if you lean close. A breeze slips in through the old window frame, not cold but cool enough to make her pull the blanket a little tighter. She likes the contrast, warmth against cool air, softness against the faint edge of night. She rests her head against the window frame. The wood is worn, and there's a place where the paint has chipped, revealing a line of old oak beneath. Her eyes drift shut for a moment, and the sounds of the house continue their gentle pattern. The tick of the hallway clock, the distant drip of rain from the eaves, the soft crackle of the old heater. In the corner of the room sits a basket with folded linens, a few extra pillows, and a scarf her sister once left behind. She picks it up, running her fingers over the frayed fringe. It's a soft wool, deep green, with a single thread of gold woven through. She remembers her sister wrapping it around her shoulders during a storm like this one, a night when laughter filled the house and they drank tea until the rain stopped. She places the scarf gently back in the basket. The memory lingers, warm and unspoken, as if it had simply been waiting for this quiet to return. The window seat holds space for so many things, not just the now, but all the soft yesterdays folded into the cushion. The kind of place that remembers you even when you've forgotten yourself. There's no need to move, no need to speak. Everything she needs is right here. A window, a blanket, a slow night wrapped in the scent of lavender and wood and thyme. And so she stays, letting the world be what it is, letting herself be part of the stillness. A breeze slips in through the old window frame, not cold, but cool enough to make her pull the blanket a little tighter. She likes the contrast, warmth against cool air, softness against the faint edge of night. She rests her head against the window frame. The wood is worn, and there's a place where the paint has chipped, revealing a line of old oak beneath. Her eyes drift shut for a moment, and the sounds of the house continue their gentle pattern. The tick of the hallway clock, the distant drip of rain from the eaves, the soft crackle of the old heater. In the corner of the room sits a basket with folded linens, a few extra pillows, and a scarf her sister once left behind. She picks it up, running her fingers over the frayed fringe. It's a soft wool, deep green, with a single thread of gold woven through. She remembers her sister wrapping it around her shoulders during a storm like this one, a night when laughter filled the house and they drank tea until the rain stopped. She places the scarf gently back in the basket. The memory lingers, warm and unspoken, as if it had simply been waiting for this quiet to return. The window seat holds space for so many things, not just the now, but all the soft yesterdays folded into the cushion, the kind of place that remembers you even when you've forgotten yourself. There's no need to move, no need to speak. Everything she needs is right here. A window, a blanket, a slow night wrapped in the scent of lavender and wood and thyme. And so she stays, letting the world be what it is, letting herself be part of the stillness. Chapter 4. Quiet Shelves. Later, when the rain softens into a mist, Clara finds herself standing at the doorway to the study. It's a room she doesn't enter often, not out of avoidance, but reverence. The door creaks faintly as she pushes it open, and the scent of old paper and polished wood drifts out to greet her. The light here is dim, shaded by a cream-colored lampshade that casts a soft, golden hush over the room. Books line every wall, not in neat, modern arrangements, but in soft stacks and leaning rows. A small armchair sits tucked into the corner, its fabric faded but welcoming, with a crocheted blanket folded over the back. She crosses the room slowly, her fingers brushing the spines of books as she passes. Some titles are familiar stories from her childhood, poetry read aloud in the soft light of other evenings. Others are strangers found in second-hand shops and forgotten until moments like this. Clara kneels beside a low shelf, lifting a small book bound in deep navy linen. Its pages crackle gently as she opens it, the print slightly faded, the margins dotted with penciled notes. She reads a sentence aloud, voice barely more than breath, a passage about lanterns swinging in the wind, about warmth found in the waiting. She smiles softly and closes the book, holding it against her chest for a moment. There's a comfort in words that stay, in pages that wait quietly to be opened again. A small wooden table holds a ceramic bowl filled with dried orange peel and cloves. The scent rises when she brushes past, bright and spiced and a little like winter. She sits in the old armchair and unfolds the crocheted blanket across her lap, fingers tracing the loops of yarn, feeling each one like a small held breath. The study doesn't ask for anything, it only offers. A quiet corner, a moment to remember, a gentle slowing. There's a journal on the desk. Its cover is soft leather, scuffed at the corners, tied shut with a length of ribbon that has dulled to a warm, dusty rose. Clara unties it gently, as though opening it might wake someone. The pages inside are uneven, filled with a mix of handwriting, some hers, some not. Notes, letters, fragments, a poem that starts and never ends, a recipe for spiced cake dotted with flower fingerprints. She lingers on a page where a leaf has been pressed flat, a maple, browned and brittle, but still holding its shape. In the margin beside it, October sun, so much gold. She smiles, her breath catching just a little. These are the soft moments held in ink. On the bottom shelf, tucked behind a row of older paperbacks, she finds a wooden box she nearly forgot. The lid sticks slightly as she opens it. Inside, postcards never sent, buttons from coats long given away, a single brass thimble, and a bundle of tiny photographs tied with string. She lifts the photos carefully, thumbing through them one at a time. A beach in sepia, a birthday cake covered in wildflowers, a dog asleep on a checkered blanket. Her breath slows with each image, each one a thread back to another quiet hour. Outside the window, the mist curls through the trees, softening their outlines. The world seems painted in watercolors, blues and grays, and soft touches of green. Clara watches without thought, the view becoming a kind of stillness inside her. A small clock ticks from the desk, its rhythm steady and slow. She listens, and in the hush that wraps around each second, she feels herself settling not down, but deeper, into calm, into memory, into the comfort of quiet shelves. Chapter 5. The glow of the lamp. Evening deepens. Outside, the mist has thickened into a veil that turns the streetlights into soft halos of light. From her bedroom window, Clara watches the world blur gently, like a watercolor still drying on the page. She turns from the window and moves slowly through the quiet house, her bare feet whispering across the wooden floors. The familiar hush meets her in every corner, the silence not empty but full, as if the walls themselves are holding their breath. In her bedroom, the lamp on the bedside table casts a golden pool of light across the quilt. It's an old lamp, the kind that clicks when you turn it on, with a ceramic base shaped like a pear and a fabric shade that glows softly when lit. Clara smooths the quilt with one hand, letting her palm press into the fabric. It's cool now, but soon it will be warm again. She lifts the blanket she brought from the living room and lays it carefully across the end of the bed. Then she sinks into the chair by the lamp, an upholstered seat with wooden arms, a spot she often forgets until moments like these, when she needs somewhere to just sit and be. The drawer of the bedside table slides open with a soft sigh. Inside, an old watch that no longer ticks, a smooth seashell, a pen that still works sometimes, and a stack of folded notes. She pulls one free and opens it slowly, the paper worn thin at the creases. The ink is faded, but the words are still clear. If you're tired, rest. If you're afraid, breathe. There's time, there's space. You're safe here. Clara lets the note rest on her lap. The message is simple, but tonight it feels like a door unlocking. She leans back in the chair, cradled by the soft lamplight, and allows her shoulders to sink just a little deeper. Outside, a single bird calls not loud, just present. Then silence again. The world outside her window is dissolving into dusk. Her eyes wander to the top of the dresser, where a little dish holds earrings, a watch band, and a dried flower she once found on a walk. The petals are curled now, the color almost gone. Still, she keeps it. Some things aren't meant to last forever, only long enough to be remembered. There's an old scarf draped over the back of the chair, woven in soft purples and deep grays. She wraps it around her shoulders now, not for warmth, but for comfort. The scent of lavender clings faintly to its fibers, a trace of last summer when she stored it away with the sachet tucked inside. Another small tenderness rediscovered. Her gaze drifts across the room. The bookshelf holds more than just stories. Tiny trinkets tucked between volumes, a pine cone, a feather, a slip of ribbon from a gift long forgotten. Each one has a story. Each one reminds her that this life, quiet as it may be, is full of small, enduring things. Near the foot of the bed sits an old cedar chest. Clara opens it gently, releasing a breath of scentage wood, a hint of old lavender, the memory of wool. Inside are tucked away scarves, cards, a faded sweater, and an envelope marked with her name in blue ink. She does not open the envelope. Not tonight, but its presence is enough, a whisper of care saved for later. She sits like that for a long while, not marking the time, just letting the glow of the lamp hold her. The rain outside, the hush inside, a breath, a stillness, a quiet promise she doesn't have to name. Chapter 6. A Gentle Meal. The kitchen is dim when Clara returns, lit only by the stove light and the glow of one lamp in the corner. It feels like entering a story that's already begun, a familiar chapter where the scent of rain still clings to the walls and the air holds a calm that asks for nothing. She moves quietly, opening a cupboard and pulling down a small ceramic bowl with a chip on the rim. It's her favorite, not because of the flaw, but because of the way it fits perfectly in her hands. She fills it with oats and warm milk, a drizzle of honey, a pinch of cinnamon. The spoon makes a soft tapping sound as she stirs. She slices half a pear, slow, careful motions, the skin slipping away like silk. Everything is unhurried. Everything belongs. Clara carries the bowl to the table by the window. The rain has quieted to a whisper, barely more than breath on glass. She watches it, spoon in hand, the warmth of the oats rising toward her in little curls of steam. The first bite is sweet and soft, the honey melting through the cinnamon, the pear warm and gentle against her tongue. It isn't much, but it's enough, more than enough. On the table, beside the bowl, sits a small cloth napkin, one with faint floral embroidery, stitched by her aunt many years ago. The fabric is thin now, soft from countless washes, but it still holds its shape. She eats slowly, pausing often to breathe, to listen, to watch the quiet of the house shift gently around her. There's a mug of warm chamomile beside the bowl, steeping quietly, the bag bobbing slightly in the steam. When she lifts it, the warmth settles into her hands like a kind voice. She takes a sip and closes her eyes. The chair beneath her is old and sturdy, with a cushion tied in place by faded ribbons. She shifts gently, letting herself lean back, the wood creaking softly in reply. The table has worn spots where her elbows have rested for years, pale patches polished smooth by time. She runs her hand over one, then another. A soft hum rises from the kettle on the back of the stove, just a trace of sound, like a memory brushing the room. She doesn't move to check it. She doesn't need to. Some things just hum to let you know they're there. On the windowsill, a small row of succulents lean slightly toward the glass, their leaves glossy in the low light, each one quiet and green and whole. Clara reaches to touch one gently with her fingertip, just a grace. Cool. Alive. She sits back, bowl nearly empty, tea still warm. In the stillness, a memory surfaces, a rainy evening long ago, her mother humming in this very kitchen, the scent of cinnamon and pear almost the same. Clara remembers the way her mother's hands moved, unhurried, precise, soft, the same way her own hands move now. She finds herself humming too, without thinking, just a thread of melody, barely there, but it fills the space like a quiet light. The sound belongs here, like the spoon on the counter, like the rain. And for a little while, the kitchen is the whole world, a world of slow spoons and soft pears, of lamp glow and rain taps, of quiet breath and tiny comforts. A world that asks nothing but presence, a world that says gently and without hurry, you are home. Chapter 7. The Last Light. Clara stands at the threshold of her bedroom again, the warmth of the kitchen still held gently in her chest. The rain outside is nearly gone now, reduced to the faintest mist, brushing softly against the windows like breath on glass. She moves slowly, as if the quiet has woven itself into her steps. The room is dim, the single lamp casting a golden spill across the quilt, pooling softly over the edges like morning sunlight paused in time. At the foot of the bed, her book waits, the one she read often as a girl, its cover worn, its pages loose, but still intact. She picks it up, not to read, but to hold. Sometimes, stories are meant to be remembered more than read. She places the book on her nightstand and sits on the edge of the bed, her hands resting in her lap. Outside, a tree shifts gently in the wind, leaves rustling with a sound like soft whisper. One by one, she turns down the room's quiet corners, fluffing a pillow, adjusting the blanket, folding the sweater draped over the back of the chair. These small rituals slow the night, give it form. She steps into the bathroom for a moment, washing her face with warm water. The steam rises gently, curling at the edges of the mirror. She presses a towel to her skin, holds it there. She catches her reflection for a breath, not to examine, just to notice. A soft face, a little tired but full of quiet. There's a small bottle of lavender oil on the windowsill. She uncaps it and dabs a trace onto her wrists, breathing in. The scent folds into the air, a whisper of fields and stillness. Back in the bedroom, she turns off the lamp. The world narrows, shadows lengthen. The window glows faintly with silver mist. She climbs beneath the quilt, pulling it up to her shoulders, tucking the blanket from the living room close around her. The fabric is warm now, holding her as the chair did, as the bowl did, as the kitchen did. Clara lies still, eyes open for a while, tracing the soft shapes of the ceiling in the dark. Her breathing finds the rhythm of the house, slow, quiet, complete. There is no urgency here. On her nightstand rests a tiny jar with beach sand inside, pale and fine, gathered from a trip she took long ago. She shakes it gently once, watching the grains settle, then lets her hand rest beside it. All the pieces of her life feel held. In her mind, the day rewinds gently. The tea, the drawer of blankets, the misted window, the quiet pages, the meal. Every moment soft, every motion kind. She closes her eyes. The hush deepens, and just before sleep comes, she lets herself think one last thing. This was enough. This, quietly, was warm. Chapter 8. Soft Return. The morning arrives gently, not with bright declarations, but with a kind of whispered permission. The light that filters through the window is pale and silken, the color of cream stirred into tea. It doesn't press or demand. It simply arrives. Clara wakes slowly, not to an alarm, but to the quiet rhythm of breath and softness. Her eyes flutter open, then close again. There's no reason to rush, no tug of urgency. The blanket still holds a gentle warmth from the night. The pillow cradles her head just so. Around her, the room feels like a held breath, still and light and entirely safe. She stretches slowly beneath the quilt, toes brushing the corners of the sheets, arms reaching gently overhead. Then she lies still again, letting the soft morning carry her. When she finally rises, it's with a softness that matches the day. No sharp movements, no noise, just a quiet return to standing, to waking, to being here. She pads across the room and opens the window a crack. The scent of damp earth and leaves drifts in, fresh and new. The mist is gone, but the trees still wear tiny droplets, catching the light in silver flashes. She runs a hand along the edge of the windowsill, tracing the familiar curve of old paint and wood grain. There are tiny marks etched there from years before, a chip, a dent, a groove left by something once leaned there too long. All of it feels like a story that stayed behind just for her. In the kitchen, she reheats the tea left in the pot, pouring it into her mug and cupping it in both hands. The flavor has deepened overnight, mellow and rich, like something that's been waiting for her. She takes her tea to the window seat, the same cushions, still welcoming from the night before. A book rests nearby, and though she doesn't open it, its presence comforts her. Outside, a few birds hop along the wet stones of the garden path. One pauses, shakes its feathers, then moves on. Everything is simple. She notices the spider web in the corner of the window pane, fine and glistening, jeweled with dew. Not perfect, slightly torn, but still beautiful. The sound of a far-off train drifts in, low and steady. Clara lets it pass through her like a breeze. It reminds her of nights curled beneath blankets as a child, counting the slow roll of wheels in the distance. That old feeling of safety and listening. She sits for a long while, tea in hand, the quiet pressing close in a way that feels like love. There's no grand thought, no plan forming, just the morning, just the breath. When the tea is gone, she holds the empty mug for a while longer. It fits into her hands the way it always has, as though it remembers her. She smiles to herself, then rises, not to begin something only to continue. There will be toast perhaps, a sweater pulled on over pajamas, a quiet turning of a page. She walks to the small hallway mirror, adjusting her hair with slow fingers, then pauses, not to critique, but simply to witness. Her reflection is soft in the morning light, the kind of face that has known stillness and let it stay. 'Cause even in the quietest of moments, even when the world barely stirs, warmth remains.